Hey everyone, and welcome back to another World of Warcraft Legion video. Today we're going to be talking about something that might seem boring at the outset, but is extremely useful. It's a feature that I'm going to elevate to sort of hidden gem status with Legion. So, tab targeting is pretty much the main way that many of us target different things in Legion. So, here I am, I'm on my hunter, I've got a whole bunch of targets. I'm going to spam through hitting the tab button, and as you can see, it goes through all of the targets. Now, it's generally fine if you're only dealing with a few targets in front of your character, right? Pretty easy to deal with, but it can be quite a problem if you've got a whole bunch of things in front of you. They're at different, levels, sort of Z positions away from you, so there's a bit of depth going on. The system gets a bit confused. Now, additionally, they actually changed how the default tab targeting works. If you want to change that back to the old version, link in the description, that'll get you sorted. But this is a new method of targeting that was added in Legion. It's not 100% perfect and robust, so it's not a default part of the UI, but you can access it if you go to key bindings, go to targeting, and then go to scan, target scan enemy hold. You might be wondering, how does this work? Now, just first, I have it bound to mouse button 4. That's just below my scroll wheel, so it's super convenient to press. And this really does change how I target things in many circumstances. I actually first found out about this because I was discussing tanking on the Vengeance, or the Havoc Demon Hunter with a guildmate who said, by the way, I've just found out this new feature and it makes tanking so much easier. And this seems like it'll be awesome for tanks trying to target the right thing. So I'm holding the, I'm going to hold mouse button 4 right now, and you can see this little halo appears right in front of my character. So when I move, you can see it sort of targets whatever is in front of me. And then when I release mouse button 4, it's now my proper target. So basically, this will scan for things directly in front of your character, sort them by distance to your character, and whenever you let go, it will target that thing. I found that this is a lot more predictable and usable than the tab targeting system, so if I'm here, I want to target the thing to my right, I just do this, and it's targeted. I just find this to be a way sort of easier and more reliable way to deal with targeting game, rather than, looking at these 4 targets and thinking, how will tab target deal with them? It's always a bit of an interesting question because tab targeting generally, it's a little bit inconsistent sometimes. Now, there are advanced uses for this functionality, which, as a hunter, are not really a thing I need to worry about, but if you're perhaps a multi-dotting class, it could really help you out. So I'm going to target this training dummy in front of me. I'm then going to hold mouse button 4 and sort of soft target. That's what I'm going to call it. I'm going to soft target the target dummy in front of me. So you'll just see when I'm doing my aim shots here, they're hitting my current target. Now I'm going to release mouse button 4, and now you can see I've swapped target, and I can easily swap back again. So you might be thinking, well, that's just not that useful. It's a bit fiddly if you are a hunter. Imagine I'm a rogue. Maybe I'm going to be, I'm attacking this, right? Imagine I'm doing melee attacks right now, okay? And I want to garrote the target that's, beside me. Well, I just need to go mouse button 4, hit my keybind for garrote, go back to whatever my original target was. Or, whatever bleed you want to put on. So if you're multi-bleeding targets in melee range, this could be quite useful. And I have found there's times when there's, a cone of enemies in front of me attacking me from different angles. It's far easier to sort of target with a system like this than it is to either use my mouse to click on things, which can be a little bit fiddly, especially depending on the behavior of the overlapping nameplates. That can be a little bit inconsistent, and then tab targeting can be a bit inconsistent. So I think this is a method that, you could integrate into your gameplay. It could be very useful. Something that I think is especially useful for a tank, because that's when, your targeting in melee range really helps. There's times, imagine if there's an NPC that's just to my right that I notice is casting a spell I need to interrupt, I can just quickly, do a twitch, release mouse button 4, which is my my keybind for this, and very quickly I can target just about anything. It's a way that, if you're a Counter-Strike player, you can really use those twitch reflexes that you will have developed to target things better in World of Warcraft, which should make you a player with faster response times, therefore someone who's a bit more reliable and overall just a little bit better to have in your raid. It's not perfect functionality, but it really is getting there. I would personally recommend binding this to one of the buttons on your mouse that you're not using. That's what I find to be very comfortable. And I also do want to talk about this thing's potential if you were to plug in a gamepad and use an add-on like console port. Now, you know, I bring up this because I think the idea of trying to make World of Warcraft feel like God of War is just an interesting topic to discuss. It's not that viable, you know, we're not really discussing about it in those terms. But something like this is another pretty cool way of targeting that you could use with a gamepad setup to, you know, just get something that feels a little bit more action-packed. So perhaps that's an experiment that I will do in the future when Blizzard re-enable the action cam functionality. Now, I'm going to show it not really working perfectly here because it's important you know that it doesn't work perfectly. So right now, bunch of targets, they're pretty much all, you know, they're all on top of each other, and right now, a little bit inconsistent feedback. So if you've got a massive pack of tiny mobs, this might not be the best way of doing things, but I think this is certainly a worst case scenario, and if this is just another thing that's in your toolkit, well then you can bring it out in the right situation, and it can hopefully improve your gameplay. I'm really happy that I found out about this just before the Mythic Plus dungeons and raids open, because I think it's something that will overall make me a little bit of a better player. It's not going to change the world, but it'll come in handy. Anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.